We are supposed to start work psychology and organizational behavior. We'll try to finish it today, this particular chapter. This is quite a lengthy chapter. So this is one of those important chapters where you get questions for sure in your what paper 2. Okay. So as we discussed yesterday in this particular chapter, the starting part, okay, which is related to job analysis. So this is about, what you do is, for example, you have a firm. In this firm, you have to recruit some people. Okay. Before recruiting, what kind of individuals you have to recruit is one thing. But even before you do that, you have to know what are the roles that are required in this firm as well. So what roles are supposed to be, carried out in this particular firm? Accordingly, you are supposed to do what? You are supposed to analyze the entire firm and see where all the requirement is there. This is known as what? Job analysis. What jobs are supposed to be done in the firm? So there are certain steps you need to follow. So that's your job analysis. So it includes job description. Then, because of that, only when you describe a job, okay, you will be able to recruit the right set of people. If you don't describe a job, say for example, you want in a firm a welder, right? What is the job of a welder? If you don't define it properly, these are all the things this person is supposed to do. Hiring a welder becomes useless. Just because you want to give a job, you give a job. Yes. So job analysis is that part, and then comes selection part. Selection mein, you generally see certain steps followed whenever you go for these placements, right? What are the steps? What is the first step? First step is usually screening. I know a basic test will be given where you eliminate most of the people, just like UPSC does. So prelims test is more like a screening test. It is more like a screening test. Once the screening is done, what is done next? Next comes specific. Specific things are asked, right? It is more like your main examination, where actually the skill set is tested. Yes. And then comes what? Interview, personality check. So on the first level, it is screening. Second level is usually technical, and third level is personality. So pretty much the same way the selections happen. Sometimes there are some, there are sometimes the selections which are based on contingent selection. We call them as contingent selections. What are these contingent selections? These are selections based on certain criterion, a set criterion, right? Clear-cut criterion is set. Special cases, right? You need to select very special people for certain posts. See, that person has passed the screening test. The person has passed what? The technical test as well. The person has passed the personality test as well. There is one more test, which is a contingent test. For example, you have the UPSC examination. You pass all these. Now you are fit to become an administrator. But then there is a contingent test for your IPS. Yes or no? What is that? Medical checkups, right? Physical fitness. Ye kya hai? Contingent test hai. Done? So what is this? This is the selection process in any firm. The selection process involves, different levels. And usually it involves screening. Second level would be generally what? Technical test. And third level would be what? The personality test. And sometimes there might be contingent tests as well. Okay. So in any selection, that is why we say there is initial part of the selection. So there is something called as initial selection. Yeah, it's on. Initial selection. So this usually includes what? Receiving application forms, resumes, right? If there are any letters of recommendation, you can bring them. Based on this, you select some people based on the resumes. Okay, say for example, sometimes here people will be telling, hey sir, some people have sent the resumes. What resumes they have sent? Let's say for example, from the institute side, they have, they are ready to recruit some people. For what purpose? Say for example, content writing. So for content writing, we require some people. That is why an ad is put. So some people send the resumes. What kind of people send resumes sometimes? Some people send resumes. In the description, when you check the resume, the description will be, I have attempted the exam. And that is why we are supposed to give a job. That cannot be a criterion. Yes. So what is this? Initial selection. In this itself, screening is done. Some sort of screening can be done here itself. Right? So it can be coming in the form of a test as well. Okay. To test the technical knowledge, however, we have the substantive selection. This is the substantive selection, the second step. As the name suggests, substantive means, so this is the selection process. Substantive means major part. This is the most important part of selection, substantive selection. So this is what I was talking about when it comes to what? Your technical part mostly. So in this, you have one, written test, two, performance or simulation tests, performance or simulation test, and as a part of this itself, you can add the interview as well. This forms the substantive part of selection. Okay. When we say written test, this is the technical test we are talking about. When I say performance or simulation, performance simulation, this is about the testing of practical knowledge. Okay. So for all these, there are different types of tests. Written tests kaun sa use karte hai, performance simulation tests which are used. So all that are listed in your notes. Interviews can be of two types: structured, unstructured. Structured, unstructured. What is a structured interview? So there will be a proper format, proper structure, as in first question will be this. Regarding this, I am going to ask the question. Second question is going to be this. Third question. Same thing for every person who attends the interview. Okay. So the interviewer's work is simple here. And there is lack of subjectivity, right? There would be no subjectivity in structured interviews. In unstructured interviews, the questions can be anything. Now, UPSC ka interview jo hai, personality interview, is it structured or unstructured? It is highly unstructured. Okay. So what question do you expect the moment your expectation that if you go to the interview, the first question, what is the question you can expect from them? What is the first question? First question, what can you expect? Tell me about yourself. Yes, the first question I faced at least was, tell me your roll number. Right? Tell me your roll number. Now, the problem is nobody gets ready for these things. Hi, Kinai. Now, see, you have written the roll number at least how many times? 1, 2, plus 9. 1, 2 plus 9. Or not only 9. Plus again, you have to write it on the paper as well. Right? When you take the sheets, you're supposed to make the entries there as well. So that would be somewhere around 18, 20, somewhere around 23, 24 times you have already written the numbers. But it has been almost how many days? It has been at least 4 or 5 months since you have last written that number. When they suddenly ask, it becomes difficult or not? Yes. Now, that is why I asked you, what can you expect as a first question? Right? You might have told even, sir, what is your name? Might be the first question. They don't ask such questions anyways, right? Because they have it in front of them. And they have the roll number also in front of them. Yes, but it's a test. Okay, see, it's not essential that you remember the number as well. But how you react becomes more important. Just like if you don't know, aram se tell, sir, it's been a long time, sir, I have forgotten it. That's it. It's done. Instead, if you are like, try to recall, sir, sorry, sir, I'm not able to remember. No, I'll try. You waste somewhere around 3 to 4 minutes. Yes. So you get panicked. That should not happen. Chalo, ye hai what? Initial selection, substantive selection, and there can be what? Contingent selections as. What are contingent selections? Based on some criterion, extra criterion, like a medical test or a physical test. These are contingent selections. Okay. This is how the selections are done. Next. So 1 is job analysis, 2 is selection, 3 is training and learning. Training and learning. What is training and learning? Once you have selected someone, they have to be trained for the job. They have to be trained for the job. So skills they have to acquire. So it is a systematic acquisition of skills, attitudes, concepts that are required to enhance the performance in the work environment. Okay, can anyone define learning? Do you remember? Do you remember learning definition? No. Learning definition. Relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of practice, training, or experience. That's it. Relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of practice, training, or experience. That's it. What is the aim of training? To cause learning to happen. That's it. Yes. Learning and training process, training learning process is aimed to enhance performance. Can you see learning? No. But can you see performance? Yes. Whenever we see the performance, we say that learning has happened. Yes. Whenever we see the performance, we say learning has happened. Goldstein and Ford have given a training model. They have given a training model which involves 6 steps. They have given a training model which is effective, which involves 6 steps. 1. Training needs analysis. Training needs analysis. Okay. All it means is you analyze the entire workplace and see which are all the departments or which are all the areas where training is required. This is the first thing. Second thing you do is, after you analyze the entire workplace, then you are going to check what are all the tasks on which training modules are supposed to be prepared. Right? What are the tasks? Say, for example, a worker knows 5 tasks. 2 more tasks are to be trained for. This you list them down. And then you do the person's analysis. Who are all the workers who need this? So training needs analysis is at 3 levels. 1 is at the entire firm level. 2 is it is at the task level. 3, it is at the person level. See, when you look at your notes, these will be in more detail, but at the end of the day, you have to just remember this much. This is all you need to remember. It will be in much more detail, but you have to remember only this much. Once you remember this much, you will be able to elaborate it into at least 4 or 5 lines, the same stuff. Yes. Second, learning process in training. The learning process. Step 2 is learning process. In this, what becomes important? The first thing is trainee characteristics. Trainee characteristics. Like what? The readiness of the trainee. What does this mean? How willing is the employee ready to get trained? Does the person have the will to learn? Many times you might have come across some programs are conducted in various places, right? Training programs. They attend these programs out of what? Not out of interest. obligation. जैसे कि you have all attended the colleges final years में, ठीक है, some programs are conducted. It will be like, क्यों करना है ये सब? Why? It's about, readiness. Some people will be ready, some people will not be ready. Second thing is motivation. Second thing is motivation. So this is about what? Motivation. See, that is the readiness. Readiness is also about whether you have that bent of mind, whether you have the intelligence, whether you have the skill set to actually acquire. Do you have the aptitude, basically? Okay. Do you have the aptitude? Do you have the interest? Do you have the attitude to learn? The second thing is motivation. What is motivation? What is motivation? Do you have that force, inner force to learn something? These two are the training characteristics that determine whether the teaching learning process or the training learning process is going to become successful or not. The first thing is training characteristics. You have to check these. After checking, whichever trainees are ready and highly motivated, which means who have the skill set, who have the intelligence, or who have the aptitude, those people and who are highly motivated, select only them for training. This is the first thing. Second thing in your learning process, which becomes important, is the principles of learning. Principles of learning. The principles of learning include practice, practice, the practice has to be active. The practice has to be active, as in the training, the person should take part with complete involvement. And the practice should be one thing, it should be active. And as a result of practice, there should be overlearning that happens. Overlearning. During the training, right, and learning, how should the practice be? Practice should be completely active, in the sense involvement should be there. Involvement will lead to overlearning. You learn too much. When you learn the task too much, it leads to automaticity. The work becomes automatic. The task completion becomes automatic. This is how the training should be. Training learning should be like this. This is the first principle. What is the first principle? Practice. Active practice should be there, which leads to overlearning, which leads to automaticity. Next. The second principle of learning is fidelity. Second principle of training and learning is fidelity. So what is fidelity? What is the meaning of fidelity? Normal meaning. So fidelity is about, trust, we can say. Loyalty. What fidelity are we talking about? You are being trained for a particular task. what you learn in training, does it match the task that is to be performed or not? Higher the similarity between what you are learning in the training and what you are supposed to do in the task actually. Higher the similarity, higher the fidelity. It should not be like you learned something in the training and when you came to the job, it is something else. Okay. As an electrical engineer, you learned so many things. And when you went for the job, it's something else altogether. Now, is there fidelity in that? No fidelity. Right? So training should be how? Training should be having high fidelity. It should have high fidelity. Okay. Next. Learning. Learning can be either part learning or whole learning. There is a third principle. Learning can happen either as a part or as a whole. So what is this about? Part or whole learning? Part or whole learning? Whole learning means you learn the entire task at once. Part learning is you divide the entire task into smaller pieces. You get trained for each piece separately and you combine all the learning at once towards the end. That is part or whole learning. This is the third principle. And fourth, it can be either massed or distributed practice. Massed or distributed practice. Masked means without break. Distributed means with breaks. Training sessions will not have any breaks in masked. In distributed, it will be spaced. That is every week one training session. Aisa. Masked kaisa hoga? Entire week. Pura week only training. Aisa. Which one is better? It depends. It depends on the task that is being trained for. Okay. A हुआ कौन सा step? Second step. Third step is training methods. Third step is training methods. On-site, off-site. There are some on-site and there are some off-site training methods. Sometimes it is also distance learning or distance training also can be done. On-site, the most famous. Apprenticeship. You know what is apprenticeship? Yes. 2, job rotation. Job rotation. What happens in this? You move the person from one department to another department and you get trained even as you work. But you are moving from one department to another department so that you are learning new tasks. You are getting trained in new tasks. That is job rotation. 3, understudy assignments. Understudy assignments. What is this understudy assignments? Say, for example, before you can become a manager, you will be under the manager for some days. And under the manager, when you are there, some of the tasks will be delegated to you. The managerial tasks will be delegated to you. It will be given to you to handle few days, right? You have to learn and you have to take the role of the manager for 1-2 days, and then again the manager takes over. Again, you will be given the job for 2-3 days. What is this? Understudy assignment. Under an experienced person, you are going to work and take the role at times. ये क्या है? Understudy assignment. Next. Formal mentoring. Formal mentoring. What does this involve? There will be mentors and mentees. Okay, mentors and mentees, they meet up, at a dedicated time slot, right? The mentors will give some ideas, right? So accordingly, the mentees will take up those ideas and try to implement them. So mentor mentee, dedicated time slots will be there. These are proper sessions that happen. So even as the person is employed and the job goes on, right? So getting prepared the person for the role, right? So ये है formal mentoring. Now comes the offsite. Classroom lectures. Programmed learning. Remember programmed instruction, programmed learning. Simulators. Case studies. Simulation. What is this about? Simulation. So simulators, for example, if you want to pass the test of of what becoming a pilot, right? Pilots बनने के लिए simulator tests होता है. Is it on job or off? It is off site, right? You are in a simulator, not in the real flight. Yes or no? And then case studies. What about the case studies? In the medical field, it comes in very handy, right? So in the medical field, you will be operating on, biopsy will be done generally on the cadavers, right? So the dead bodies will be the place where people learn a lot. It's not going to be live people. Yes. So ये क्या है? Offsite है. And then comes the distance learning. Audio video. Trainees interact with the instructor using audio video links. It can come in 3 forms: distance learning, Computer-based training is one. Computer-based training. It involves text, graphics, presentations. Two, it can be adaptive guidance. It can be adaptive guidance. This is about the learners are given an idea where they stand right now. Okay. And what they should be doing next. Just the guidance part. Some tests will be given. There will be distance, at a distance. Some tests will be given. So based on the test scores, they will give the idea as to where they stand. And then what you are supposed to do based on the test scores. That's all. So some material will be given. You have to learn that material. You take this test. Where do you stand with this test? What you are supposed to do. And then comes the blended learning. In the distance learning, the last part is blended learning. This is your hybrid. At times face to face. At times, what distance? So 3 steps are done. The 4th step is TOT. T-O-T. Transfer of training. The 4th step is transfer of training. What is transfer of training? It is the degree to which the trainees apply the KSAOs. Trainees apply the KSAOs. Very famous KSAO. Knowledge, skills, attitudes, and other characteristics. Knowledge, skills, attitudes, and other characteristics, or other abilities that are gained through training to their jobs. To what extent do they apply them? See, they have learned through training, but to what extent will they apply is known as what? Transfer of training. See, training is done. You have learned also. You have learned 100 units. Out of 100 units, how much will you apply at work actually? Okay. The transfers can be either horizontal or they can be vertical. The transfers can be horizontal or vertical. Horizontal means whatever you have learned, you are going to use those skills, KSAOs, only in that level of the organization. Okay, the KSAOs that you have learned will be used only, you apply it only in that level of the organization. When it is vertical, you use it no matter which level you are put to. Whichever job you take at work, you apply the KSAOs that you have learned. So whenever there is a transfer of training that happens, there will be some positive outcomes. What are the positive outcomes? You can read from the notes. So this is the fourth step. Okay. Next. So that's all that is required in training. And there is one more aspect to training, which is HRD matrix, very important matrix. Which one? This one? No. This is a HRD matrix. So there are only 4 steps in training according to Goldstein. Those are the 4 steps. Next topic is HRD matrix under training itself. HRD matrix given by Parikh. Given by Parikh. It involves 6 steps. Okay, it involves 4 steps. Sorry, it involves 4 steps, not 6 steps. Next, HRD matrix. What is this HRD matrix? Given by Parikh, Indian. So that is why it is important. This matrix helps the HR department a lot. For what purpose? It helps the HR department quite a lot. For what purpose? To enhance the overall effectiveness and productivity of the workforce. You can include 2 more steps in that, what your Goldstein. Wo hoga, one is related to validity. Okay, one is related to validity, as in once the training is done, how long is it going to be valid? Those are extra steps which need not, be elaborated. And the other one is evaluation. How well did the training go? Basically, these are the extra 2 steps for which you don't need to give too many details. Okay, those are the 4 important steps. These are 2 extra steps. Validity, as in whether it will be useful in the future or not. If I go to a different job, as in different firm, will it be useful or not? Right? Intra-generational, for the next 10 years it will be useful. After 10 years, will it be useful or not? That is the validity. So 2 more steps, checking the validity and the evaluation. Okay. Next. So what is this matrix for? This matrix is for overall performance, overall effectiveness of the workforce can be increased using this matrix. So using this matrix, you can develop some strategies. Tailor-made strategies you can come up with. Okay. The most important thing about this HRD matrix is that it considers various aspects of the humans, including their culture, while designing the strategies for them. See, you want to come up with some training strategies, right? Generally, you don't take into consideration what the culture they are coming from. But this matrix is important in the sense that it takes into consideration the culture as well. Culture of what? Culture of the employees as well. Okay. So, human needs in sync with organizational needs. They try to bring it in sync. The matrix tries to bring it in sync. That is why this matrix is created on the basis of two aspects. One is human units. Two, systems. Two, systems. This is the one which creates as a matrix. So, human units. What are the human units? Individual is a human unit. Dyad is a human unit. What is a dyad? D-Y-A-D. Two people. Okay. Individual is a human unit where humans are involved, basically. Dyad is one more. Role is a human unit. What role the person takes up? That defines a person. Teams is a human unit because it is made up of humans. Inter-teams is a human unit. The relationship between two teams or three teams, that is also because of the humans itself. And overall organization. So there are some features of each of these. Yes. And there are needs of each of these. Correct. And now comes the systems. An organization is formed by human units itself. Yes or no? An organization at the end of the day is made by humans itself. So these are the human units and they have some needs. Each of them have some needs. Now comes the systems. Systems are the ones which are processes which are actually guiding the entire organization. One, there is a system for appraisal. Appraisal system. Two, career is a system. Career progression is a system. Three, training is a system. Right? The actual work or the job is a system. This is how you are supposed to do, right? These are the tasks involved, right? It's a system, a step-by-step manner in which you are supposed to carry out this thing is a system. Culture is a system. Okay. And finally, fuel is a system. As things change, how the person is supposed to change as well. Right? Now, these are the systems that are there within which the human units are operating. Agreed? These are the systems within which the human units are operating. The more sync that is there between these two, the more efficiency. Yes or no? What is this known as? HRD matrix. You are supposed to come up with strategies or training modules, anything you come up with. should be by keeping these things in mind, this matrix in mind. Next, theories of motivation. Motivation theories. There are two types of theories of work motivation. Content theories and process theories. Content and process. Content theories are more like factors. Factor theories. What are the factors that cause people to get motivated to work? Process theories are about what is the thinking that goes into people actually deciding to work more or not to work more. The focus of this is what? The focus of this is how. What pushes them to work? How they think to work. Right? What sort of thinking is involved? That is process. For content theories, you have Maslow, Alderfer, Herzberg. Maslow, Alderfer, and Herzberg. For process theories, you have Vroom, Adams, and Porter Lawler. Vroom, Adams, Porter Lawler. I'll give you the brief idea of each of these theories to study from the notes. I'll give you the crux of it. Maslow, you already know. Right? Maslow's theory, you already know. But there was some problem with Maslow's theory. What was the Maslow theory problem? Without satisfying one need, you can't go to the next need. Higher order need, you can't go. That was the main problem. In order to correct the problems of your Maslow's theory, Alderfer came up with a theory called ERG theory, ERG theory. Alderfer came up with a theory called ERG theory. So it's a refinement of Maslow's theory, actually. What was done? See, you have 5 levels. These 5 levels were reduced to 3 levels. Right? There were 5 levels. It was reduced to 3 levels. The first level is existence needs. E is existence. E is existence needs. Which relates to physiological and safety needs. Physiological and safety needs of whom? Maslow. So it is equal to physiological and safety needs of Maslow. R is relatedness needs. Relatedness needs. These are equivalent to the esteem needs. These are equivalent to the esteem needs. Okay. Social esteem. G are your growth needs, which are equivalent to the self-esteem needs of a person plus self-actualization. Okay, this is your ERG theory. According to this theory, people might be motivated to satisfy their needs at multiple levels at once. There is a flexibility that is there in this theory. At the same time, you can have the motivation to satisfy the E need, R need, G need. At the same time, you can have it. Whereas there was no such flexibility. Only when the needs at this level are satisfied, then only you can think of these needs. But here, what is it saying? All the three levels of needs, you can have the motivation to resolve them at the same time. That is the flexibility that is offered. Next. That is your Alderfer, easy. Next is Herzberg. It's called a two-factor theory. It causes some sort of confusion sometimes, but if you have clarity over the two words, it is very, very easy. Those two words are satisfaction and dissatisfaction, right? Satisfaction and dissatisfaction. So what is the confusion here? See, what is the opposite of satisfaction? That is the problem here. The opposite of satisfaction, according to this theory, is no satisfaction. The opposite of dissatisfaction is no dissatisfaction. Understood? Clear? You're getting the idea? This is where the confusion lies in this theory. Satisfaction का opposite dissatisfaction नहीं है. According to this satisfaction. According to this theory, it is satisfaction means opposite is no satisfaction. You have to think from this perspective. Now, what does it try to say? The factors which cause a worker's or employee's satisfaction are not the same as the ones which cause their dissatisfaction. Understood? The factors which bring satisfaction to a worker are different from the factors that bring dissatisfaction to the person. See, when I get good salary, I am satisfied. When I don't get good salary, am I dissatisfied? No, I am not satisfied. Getting my point? What causes dissatisfaction? There are something else which causes dissatisfaction to me. Right? So, in that manner, the factors that bring satisfaction and no satisfaction are different from the factors that are responsible for dissatisfaction and no dissatisfaction. This is the core idea. So that is why we say there is a dual continuum. So what are these factors? For one, we call them as hygiene factors. One set of factors are called hygiene factors. The second set of factors are called motivators. Motivators and hygiene factors. Hygiene factors are the ones which are related to your dissatisfaction and no dissatisfaction. Motivators are the ones which are related to satisfaction, no satisfaction. Done. So, what are the motivators we are talking about? Or we'll see the hygiene factors first. What are the hygiene factors? Working condition, proper light, proper toilets, supervision, kaisa hai? Is it like the supervisor always sits next to you or only checks at times? Co-workers, how they are, the relationship, job security kaisa hai? These are all what? Hygiene factors. If these terms and conditions, basically terms and conditions, if the terms and conditions are not good, you are dissatisfied. Right? If they are proper, do you say I am satisfied? No. What do you say? I am not dissatisfied. Again, it's not like you have very good lighting at your workplace. You're like, oh, awesome, I am satisfied. Aisa to nahi hai. You just say I am not dissatisfied. Yes. On the other hand, satisfaction, that is the motivators at work. These are recognition, responsibilities people enjoy, growth, independence. All these things bring satisfaction. Hai na? If there is no recognition for the work you do, will you get satisfaction at work? No. No satisfaction. Yes. So, did you get the difference? Ye hai hygiene factors and motivators. Now tell me, I did not say anything about the salary. Where do you put salary? Is it hygiene factors or motivators? Now, you put pay in hygiene factors, because see, as of now we say that, you know, the moment you get good salary you are satisfied, but actually speaking, salary is not the one which decides your satisfaction at a workplace, right? It is usually after a particular point. See, initially you say it is salary. The moment you start earning somewhere around 2 lakhs in the present inflation conditions, 2 lakhs and above, if you start earning, it is not the money that actually matters. It is something else that matters. Okay. So up to 2 lakh rupees, yes, it is money. After 2 lakh rupees, see, if you continuously earn over 2 lakh rupees for a period of, let's say, some 3 years, 4 years. After that, almost all your needs which you think of will be satisfied, almost. उसके बाद जो भी है 2 lakh में almost you will be saving somewhere around 1 lakh rupees you will start to save. Now money does not become important for you. There is something else that becomes important. Whether I am getting enough responsibilities, whether people are listening to me at work or not. Now these things become important. You are getting 5 lakh rupees salary per month. Nobody listens to you at workplace. You ask a peon, get me some water. चाहिए तो ले लिए. Now, आपको अच्छा लगता है? No. Then what is it? Then it becomes what? Satisfaction. No satisfaction. Right? So pay is satisfaction, no satisfaction, or dissatisfaction, no dissatisfaction. It is a hygiene factor. That comes as recognition. Right? Bonus is a recognition for the extra work you have done, no? Yes or no? Then it will be a motivator. Yes? Bonus कब देते हैं? When is it given? Only when the performances are good. India में दूसरे, they give for other parameters, on the basis of other parameters. Bonus is given for Diwali. Now that you can't consider. Yes. So that is a motivator. Then it becomes a motivator. Okay. Next. That is about here Maslow, Alderfer, and Herzberg. Next you have Room, Adams, and Porter-Lawler. What are these theories about? First, we'll see the equity theory, Adams equity theory. Adams equity theory. Why? Because Room and Lawler, Porter-Lawler are related. Adams equity. It is a justice theory. Theory of justice at workplace. Okay. Theory of justice in what perspective? I am working, other people are also working. Okay. And for the work I am putting, I am getting some return. Right. Other people are also getting return. Relatively, for the work I am doing and they are doing, am I getting the equal pay or not? Or equal return or not? ये क्या है? Justice. You're just checking whether I am being paid or I am getting the recognition justly or not. Okay. So, fair return for the job you're doing. This is, you're checking relatively. Relative to others. Okay, how do they do it? See, they don't put it on a paper and check. Okay, all they do subconsciously, how they think, employees, according to this theory. Outcome to input ratio. Outcome to input ratio. Of myself compared to outcome to input ratio of others. B is others, A is me. If you perceive, this is perception. If your perception is like this, you will be happy. You sense equity. What do you sense? You sense equity at workplace. So what is the outcome? Outcome is in terms of pay, recognition, responsibilities given to you, independence given to you, all these things, the office space given to you, all these. If you sense this, you sense inequity. Greater than? If it is greater than, then also it is inequity. Then also it is inequity. If it is this sign, then also it is inequity. You sense inequity. You feel like you are being over rewarded. It is a problem because you stop working better. Hi ki nahi? Yes or no? I am doing too much, probably. That is why I am being rewarded. Let me reduce the job also. Let me reduce the work. Yes. See, this part is more. That is why, and for these people, right, the outcome is what? Outcome is lesser. For this person, outcome is more. What is this person feeling? I'm already doing too much, maybe. He comes to understanding that my inputs can be reduced and still match the output of others. Yes, this also sends a wrong signal to the person. When the person feels over rewarded, right? ये दोनों नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be like this. Now, this is problematic. Why? Because it is based on the perception of the person. It is completely based on whose perception? The person's perception, A's perception here. Now that is problematic. Whenever, see, this is still fine. Greater than is still fine. Equal to is good, but lesser than, when he feels inequity in this sense, there are 6 options from which he is going to choose one. One of the things he is going to do, he or she is going to choose one of the 6 options. They change inputs. They start changing inputs. Start working less, maybe. Okay. If they sense that they are being paid more, inequity, that is also inequity. If they sense that they are being, being paid more, A wala case, they might start overdoing things. Jaise ki you are a supervisor and there is one more supervisor. That supervisor is being paid less. You are getting more, right? For the same job. You sense that, oh, mujhe zyada pay kar raha hai, matlab I am more powerful. Let me control that supervisor also. Supervising the supervisor. Yes, this problem can occur. First, change the inputs. This is one possibility that can happen. Second, change outcomes. Change outcomes. What is this about? See, you are being paid on the basis of per piece work. Okay. You perceive that my output is less. That is why I am being paid more, maybe. Paid less, maybe. What I will do is, I will also start producing more output. Every day I used to process 10 files. That person was processing, 12 files, maybe, right? I was processing 10 files. But the thing is, my files were elaborate. Those files were not so elaborate. But that doesn't matter. What the person is counting, the owner is counting, is only the number of files. What I'll do is, I'll also process 12, maybe 15. But When I try to process 15 files, the quality may drop. I don't care. I just want to change the outcome. Done. I'll change the outcome. 3. Perception of self is distorted. Perception of self is distorted. Okay. 4. It may distort the perception of others. A starts thinking that maybe I'm putting too much work or too less of a work. Actually, the person is putting same amount of work. Just because the person is being paid less or being paid more, or senses that inequity, may understand oneself in a different manner altogether. Okay, so the perception of self gets distorted. The perception of others also might change. How you perceive, how A perceives B changes. Maybe that person is doing a lot of work, that is why he's getting paid more, but actually he's also doing the same amount of work. But your perception has changed just because outcomes are different, right? Next, you may start to choose a different referent. Start to choose a different referent. As in, you may start competing with the same level of employee, and you may decide, look at the other person who is working below me. I'm better than that person. So this is what? This is the first, fifth option you may choose. And the last option is what? When you sense inequity too much, you may quit. So change input, change output. Input, output. Uske baad, how you see others, how you see yourself, that may change just because of the existence of inequity. And then you may choose a different referent. You may start comparing with other people who are not of the same stature, or you may call it quit. Okay. So these are the 6 options one may choose if inequity is perceived. If inequity is perceived, inequity may or may not exist, but if you perceive inequity, then this is what can happen. Next. Vroom's theory. So how to increase efficiency according to this theory? Make the employees feel there is justice, right? There exists equity. Victor Vroom. This is theory number 5, right? 5. Vroom's expectancy theory. Vroom's expectancy theory. A very simple theory. You can also remember it as a Y theory, VIE, Y theory. There are only 3 things in this, VIE. V is value, I is instrumentality, E is effort. According to this theory, motivation at workplace is equal to E first. If I put the effort, will that effort be appraised at workplace or not? The effort which will be equivalent to my performance, right? I put an effort and it leads to some performance. Will it be appraised or not? Basically, effort and its performance appraisal. Will it happen or not? When I put an effort, will it lead to performance appraisal or not? Is the first thing. While I put the effort and let's say it leads to performance appraisal, the next question is, will it give me some reward or not? Will it give some reward or not? There are two kinds of rewards that you may get. One is the reward which is going to be external reward, and two is internal reward. Right? When I engage in this particular task, I have put some effort. It will lead to performance appraisal. So this performance will lead to some outcome. True. But will it give some other reward to me or not? That will be your instrumentality. Instrumentality is about what? Whether it will lead to a reward or not. The reward can be either external or internal. External reward is salary, maybe pay. Internal reward is you getting some satisfaction. Okay. Now, why did you start working? You started working because you have some personal goals in your life. Correct? Goal 1, goal 2, goal 3 are personal goals. In order to meet these goals, whatever reward is being given, does it hold value or not? See, some reward you are getting, but that does that reward in any way relate to my personal goals or not? If it relates to my personal goals, then I will value it. So, motivation to work will be dependent on effort, instrumentality, and the value you attach to the reward. Done? This is your Bloom's expectancy theory. It's all about expectancy. Yes? Okay. Say, for example, your personal goal, one of your personal goal is to buy a car. This is your personal goal. Okay. End of the year, your employer said that there's one contingent task that is to be done at the firm. बहुत important task है. So I will appoint you to be the person who is going to take care of the things when it comes to this task. See to it that this task gets completed. Now, if I do certain things, this task can be completed. You get to understand that. These are the efforts I need to put, you understand. If I put these efforts, they are going to say you have done well. That I know. Now you ask, what is the reward you are going to give? That comes in as instrumentality. Now the employer says you are going to get a very good medal in front of all the employees at workplace. Some 1,000 people are there from across India. All people, in front of all those people, you will be facilitated with a medal. You will be felicitated with a medal. ये बोला गया. Now, reward तो मिल गया. Then he thinks, what is my personal goal? Buy a car. Medal लेके क्या करे? Choose नहीं है. Now tell me, motivation will be high or low? Low. बस इतना है. Understood? Clear? On the other hand, यहाँ पे reward जो है, if it is internal reward, like there is one more goal in your life, personal goal. I want to earn a name, right? So some name I have to make. I have to leave a legacy at this workplace. If that is the case, then the person will see this medal itself as what? Having some value. Why? Because it is a reward you're going to get and it has some value related to your personal goal. Then you'll be motivated again. So it depends on one, instrumentality, the value and the effort. ठीक है? ये है आपका Victor Room. And next comes Porter and Lawler. Porter and Lawler. So this is a theory which mixes, which integrates VIE theory with ERG theory with equity theory. All mixed. You get what? The Porter-Lawler theory. Based on two things, you put the effort according to this theory. One, value of reward. Two, effort, reward, probability. Two things. What is the value of the reward for me? And if I put this effort, what is the probability of getting the reward? Based on this, you put the effort. The performance is the actual measurement of the efforts you have put. See, you have put the effort, but how much does it become performance? to what extent does it translate into performance is not only dependent on the effort. There are other things that come into picture. Two more things that come into picture, which decides your performance. One is your abilities and traits. Your role perception, how you perceive your role. So this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Your actual performance will be dependent on 3 things. Then your effort, your ability is to put that effort, okay, and then role perception, how you look at the job that is given to you. Have you taken it positively, negatively, or just like any other job? Based on these things, performance will be dependent. Next. Once the performance is done, it will lead to 2 rewards. Agreed? Extrinsic rewards and intrinsic rewards. Extrinsic and intrinsic rewards. So that's your 7A, 7B. Extrinsic rewards, intrinsic rewards. Remember your equity theory. What does equity theory say? Input, output. Where is the input here? Your performance is the actual input. What is the output? Can you say this will be the perception of the reward? But to check the equity, you are supposed to take into consideration performance as well. How do you take the performance into consideration? Your perceived equitable rewards will be here. Perceived equity will be dependent on what? Rewards and performance taken into consideration. And that will lead to what? Satisfaction. So this becomes your 8. This becomes your 9. The moment you get satisfaction from the reward, satisfaction, overall satisfaction, you got the satisfaction not just because of the rewards. It's because of the performance, it's because of the efforts, it's because of everything. You got the satisfaction. The moment you get the satisfaction, the value of the reward also increases. Yes or no? It is very closely linked to what? The value of the reward. The moment the performance is up to mark, you decide that my performance is matching the effort I put. I had perceived this much effort is required, which can lead to a reward, and the performance is something which is matching it, and it has close relationship with what? Effort, reward, probability. After the performance is done, you get to understand that. ये है आपका पोर्टर लॉलर थ्योरी. Now VIE theory कहाँ पे है यहाँ पे? Where is VIE? Value, right? Instrumentality, yes. Effort, done. ERG, where is ERG? What is ERG? Erg theory. What is ERG? E. What is E? Existence needs. R, relatedness needs, growth needs. It speaks only about the growth needs, satisfaction part. Okay, so that is the main idea. Satisfaction is the most important thing. And then last, equity theory yahan pe hai. From here to here you have the equity theory. Done. ये है आपका पोर्टर लॉलर theory. Next, leadership. What is leadership? The ability to lead. It is the ability to influence a group towards achievement of a vision or achievement of a set of goals. Okay, there are different theories of leadership. Some of them are trait theories. Some are trait theories. What are trait theories? So these are the traits which are supposed to be present in a leader. A trait theories. There are some behavioral theories. What are these about? There are certain behaviors which the leader is supposed to possess, like interpersonal relationships maintain karne ke liye there are some behaviors that are required. In order to carry out the tasks, there are some behaviors that he is supposed to engage in. So behavior based. And then you have contingency theories. These theories focus on whether the leader comes to the fore, right? A person who comes to the fore in the times of contingencies, dire situations. If he is able to come up with certain efforts, if he is ready to put the efforts and to resolve the situations, then he is considered a leader. This is contingency theory. And then you have cognitive theories. These are the theories which focus on how some of the leaders think. If people have such and such ways of thinking, such and such ways of processing the information, such people can be considered as leaders. So this is the focus of process. This is situations, extraordinary situations. This is about behaviors. This is about the traits, right? Characteristics or traits. Okay, next. So these are the various theories you have. You have n number of theories, but for us, for our syllabus, we have transactional leaders, Transformational leaders. Charismatic leadership. Charismatic leadership. And participative leadership. These are the different types of leaderships that are there on which you can expect questions. Okay. This is a very easy topic. I think you can study on your own these things. See, the differences. Transactional, this is the most important one, which you are supposed to study. The difference. This is easy, this is easy. So the thing is, in transactional leadership, it is a give and take leadership. Okay, this is more of a give and take leadership. Transformational is a vision based leadership. Charismatic is influence based. Participative is more about making a part of decision making. You make the employees a part of decision making, and you run the organization on the basis of that. Every time you want to make a decision, you take the employees into consideration. You take their say also. This is the democratic style. Democratic style of leadership. Done. So there are certain characteristics for each type, right? That is all given in your notes. You can study from there. So there is one, Campbell has given 6 characteristics of a leader. That is also part of leadership itself. That also you need to study. It's there in your notes. Next comes stress. What is the opposite of distress? Eustress. There is something called as eustress, which is good stress, good amount of stress, which leads to enhanced performance. Right? This is a person, and say, who has extensively studied stress as a topic. According to this person, simple meaning of stress is, there are many situations where we are supposed to put in some effort. So the situation demands efforts. So there is some demand of effort. Who is demanding this effort? Situation. If we feel that we don't have enough ability to match the demand, then we feel what? Stress. That's it. So if the demands threaten our ability to cope, if the demands of the situation threaten our abilities to cope, then we feel what? Stress. So what are the sources? So you can study from the notes. What are the sources? Generally, the sources are environmental factors. There can be organizational factors. They can be, personal factors. So when we say environmental factors, environmental factors are the factors which are outside the organization as well as yourself. It can be your environment, right? So environment itself, jaise ki your political factors maybe. It can be your economic uncertainties. Yes. Technological advances that have happened in the society. Technological advancement happened in the society, but you are getting the stress. Why? You are not able to cope. Government changed. It does not matter to you, but you are taking stress. Organizational factors kya hai? Maybe the workload increased, the task demand has increased, role has been changed, or role is not defined properly. That can also be a problem. Your co-workers relationship can be a factor for stress at workplace. Personal factors. What about personal factors? Family issues. Even good ones can become a stress sometimes. Kaisa? घर में function hai. It is a good thing. But what is the stress you have? The stress is, I'm not getting, see, I should have been there for at least 10 days. They have offered only 5 days leave. It is 1 day marriage, but it would have been nice if I had 4 days before, 4 days after, 1 day to travel. Right? Right? Ye kya hai? Personal factor hai. This is completely personal. Is it a good thing? Yes, it is a good thing. Okay, you can take stress even for that. And then stresses are highly addictive. They are highly addictive. They generally build up over time. So, what factors decide a person is going to have stress or not? What factors? These are called the moderating factors. What are the moderating factors? These are the deciding factors. Moderating factors. These are the ones which decide whether a person is going to have stress or not. Individual differences play a role. Individual differences are considered to be moderating factors. 2, culture is also a moderating factor. The culture you come from is also a moderating factor. Individual differences. ऐसा है. Perception is the first aspect. Perception. How you perceive an event decides whether you are going to take stress or not. And how you perceive things change from person to person. Say, for example, you lost a job. How do you see it? Some people see it as an opportunity. Right? The other person thinks that it is the end of life. It is the end of a good life. That person will feel the stress. It varies from person to person. Perception. Second, job experience. Job experience. How you look at the job you have also decides the stress. So sometimes I keep wondering about certain jobs. जैसे कि a salesman at a electronic store, right? When you go to these Reliance Digital and all, you look at the salesman there, you keep observing on that, busy day, Saturdays and Sundays, from morning till night, they don't rest. Yes, I keep wondering what motivates these people so much. Morning till evening. So what is this about? Job perception, right? How they look at the job. So job experience, they might be feeling that this is outstanding. They might be enjoying it. हमको कैसा लगता है? We feel like, what is this guy doing? Why is he so motivated? Right? See, there might be rewards. Those rewards might be of no value to us, but for them, it is of some value maybe. So job experience, how they look at the job, right? Again, it's about the perception of the job. That's what job experience. That is the second factor. Thirdly, social support. Third individual difference is about social support. This is about the relationships that exist at workplace. If a workplace is offering weekend parties, weekend get-togethers, at times, outings, recreational activities at times, ये सब offer कर रहा है one workplace. You are a person who doesn't like all these things. Let's suppose. Now, you don't like that job as well. है कि नहीं? You feel the stress. Stress क्या है? हमको भी जाना है. Why? No. You are obligated to go as well. See, sometimes you don't want to do certain things. Just because you are in that job, you are supposed to do those things. You may feel the stress. 10, it is a team of 10. 9 people have organized, what home parties so far. You are the last person remaining. You have not. Why? You don't like, but you will be obligated. Why are you not arranging? Maybe because of the familial pressure, right? Family में जो भी लोग हैं, they are all like, ये सब नहीं चलेगा घर में. But you want to do it. You don't want to do it, at the same time want to do it, but environment is not conducive. So what is this? Social support. ऐसा है. And then finally, personality factors. Your personality. How is it? It varies from person to person. Accordingly, you take stress even for the smallest things, right? You may not, even if it is a big deal, you don't care. Culture. Spectre has done some research. Spectre. What he found is that employees in US were stressed whenever they were not given independence, whenever they were not given control. What is control? Control on their own job. Too many supervisors. ऐसा है, they felt stressful. If they are given independence at work, they were okay. In India, however, employees were more stressed due to the lack of training and job evaluations. मतलब क्या है? It means even if there is a supervisor, it is fine. After the work is done, don't evaluate it. If you evaluate, we will feel stressful. 2, why are they stressed? They are also stressed because they don't have enough training. After they get into the job, they understand what to do. Lack of training is another reason why they get stressed more. So this is a research done by Spector. Consequences of stress. Consequences of stress. Consequences can be physiological, psychological, and behavioral. Physiological, psychological, and behavioral consequences. BP, diabetes is a physiological. Increased heart rate, palpitations, right? Panic attacks, anxiety is a physiological. Changes in metabolism, okay? Changes in circadian rhythm. So there are some people who work for 14, 16 hours straight. There are some people. I have seen people. Right? So there was one of my friends who used to work for almost what? There are days he has worked for 18 hours. Right? I don't understand whether he was working or not, but he used to be at the office 18 hours, which essentially means that he was at workplace even at night, all throughout the night. Right? And his circadian rhythm sometimes used to be like this. He used to, go home somewhere at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sleep till 10 o'clock at night, and wake up at 10 o'clock and go to work again at 11:30 at night. Now night shifts both there, right? So it messes the circadian rhythm, right? And it is the stress at workplace. Basically, the time schedules, all these cause stress. A physiological aspect, psychologically, what happens? Consequence. Irritability, anxiety, depression, boredom in life, ये सब psychological है. Behavioral consequences, productivity will fall. More attrition. Increased intoxication. Sleep disorders. These are all behavioral. Okay. So there are some ways to manage stress management techniques. Individually, you can do certain things. Organizational level also, certain things can be done. So those are all listed. You can study from the notes. Stress management. Easy part. Next. Sensitivity training is the topic. And there is something called as managerial effectiveness, as in how can managers be more effective. So that's also there in your notes. You can study. Easy. Sensitivity training. Have you heard of this term? Sensitivity training? You have known them separately, not together. So what is sensitivity training? It's just about, see, when you go to a workplace, there are different kinds of people, right? They come with various backgrounds. They have come from various backgrounds, various cultures, right? Their ideas are different. The outlook towards work is different, right? They belong to various other, groups, associated groups are many. They come from different castes, they come from different religions, they are of a different gender. So all these aspects are there, and you come into touch with all these people because they have different values, different attitudes, different beliefs. What is more important? You are supposed to be receptive of those. basically you are supposed to be sensitive to those things. And in order for you to be sensitive to those things, first you have to know those things. And that is what sensitivity training. What is that? Sensitivity training. So it is a training that is designed to help individuals understand and respect the differences. Okay, understand and respect the differences of their colleagues, so that a more harmonious workplace is created. More harmonious and inclusive workplace is created. So what will be there in sensitivity training? One, it will involve educating the employees about the diversity. Educating the employees about the diversity. That is one thing. Two, it improves communication. It improves communication. How? In sensitivity training, they'll be taught about how certain actions and words can be perceived by others. Sometimes you might think that use of a word, right, use of a particular word doesn't hurt anyone. But in sensitivity training, it will be clearly shown how certain words can hurt others. Certain actions, how can they hurt others? Right? Certain gestures, how can they hurt others? All these things, when they are taught in sensitivity training, communication improves. Relationships become better. 3, conflict resolution. Includes conflict resolution. Okay. So sensitivity training also involves, if there is a conflict, how to resolve it by taking into consideration various perspectives. So this is generally given for, this sensitivity training is generally given for managers. If two employees are warring with each other, how to resolve it. Next, it also helps in reducing unconscious bias. Unconscious bias. What is this unconscious bias? It is about, it is to make sure that, say, for example, a person is in the HR department. This is the one who does the recruitment for the most part. And this person hails from a particular state. And without him knowing, in the last 10 appointments he has done, 9 are from his state only. He has not done it consciously. Unconsciously, he has this bias. It's very important that they become aware of the existence of such unconscious biases. And that will be clearly, dealt with in sensitivity training. They'll be made known about the unconscious biases. And next, it enhances teamwork. How to enhance teamwork? So in sensitivity training, they will be taught about how important groups are, how important cooperative nature is in order to ensure that superordinate goals are achieved. Some goals can be achieved only when everybody pitches in. Individual effort will not lead to achievement of goals. Okay. Sensitivity training helps in compliance with laws and regulations. There are some laws and regulations which are there in the society. If sensitivity training is given, right, compliance with these laws and regulations becomes much more easier. For example, sexual harassment at workplace is a law, right? Sexual harassment at workplace, for the prohibition, there is a law, there's an act. Compliance of this act can be practiced by the firm if it is easier to comply if sensitivity training is given, right? So compliance becomes easier. And finally, workplace culture would be good. It helps build a positive workplace culture. Remember, work culture. What is it? What is work culture? Your understanding of work culture. Ethical? Okay. Is there a difference? Work ethic, ethics at work. A lot of differences there. What is the difference? Work ethic is your idea of work. Ethics at workplace is the expectation of organization. How workplace sees work and how it expects the individuals to be. This is how individuals see work and how they want to be, how they want the workplace to be. Now, this person with his own ideas, this place with its own ideas, they come together or not? When they come together, this affects this or not? Yes or no? So workplace expects you to be very punctual. You are somewhat punctual, right? You are somewhat punctual. So when you are somewhat punctual, now do you influence others or not? You influence others as well. How? The other person is like, this person is coming late, I'll also come late somewhat. It doesn't matter. Ethics at workplace got influenced or not? Now, there are certain rules at workplace. Do they influence this person or not? Obviously, yes. Never has this person parked his vehicle in the parking lot. Right? He parks only in the parking lot now. Ethics at workplace taught it. Now, it is a dynamic relationship that exists, which creates the work culture. The interaction between these two creates the work culture. Whenever there is a lot of synchrony between the two, the expectations match each other a lot, then you have a positive work culture. Done. Next. ये है sensitivity training. So sensitivity training will create positive workplaces. Next is power and politics at workplace. What is power? Ability to influence others even when they show resistance. Yes. Ability to influence others despite the existence of resistance. There will be some sort of resistance, but still you're able to influence. Then it is called power. Where does it come from? French and Raven have identified two broad sources of power. Two categories of sources. One source is formal source. The other one is personal. One source of power is formal, the other one is personal. We'll take a break. We'll come back at 12:35, 15 minutes. What time is it? 12:20, right? Okay. We'll come back at 12:40. Okay, 12:40. So we'll be able to complete this chapter today. Okay, and then I'll give an introduction to the other chapter as well. There's not much you have to learn in the other chapter. It's a very simple chapter, economic development. Okay. So as I told you, as you can see, there is not much you need to understand. Only the theories you need to understand. Other things, it's just that you have to read through and make what? Short notes. If you're able to make short notes, it's done. Right? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 12:40. Okay.